All right. Well, let's see about what state we're in right now. Jim, there is a lot going on. We have a lot to get to. We have some reviews. We have the roster review, which a lot of people have been waiting for. Lots of other things happening. Why don't we start with something that's a bit, what the hell is going on with this? We talked last week about Ric Flair and the news that he had launched or was behind a company or aligned with a company called Ric Flair Spirits, of all things, with a line of Ric Flair liquor drinks, Ric Flair liquors, Ric Flair, Ric Flair alcohol
like
products.
Have you had some of the Ric Flair liquor drinks, Brian?
Everything from Flair bourbon to wooski. Right when we talked about that, there were a lot of people getting in touch about a tweet. Jim Ross has been on social media, from at least what I've seen, I don't follow him or anything, just a few times it's been retweeted over the last few weeks talking about his medical issues, and he went in for surgery, he came out of surgery.
Yes. And he just actually, I think right before we're going on the air, has tweeted that he's home from the hospital and, starting his recovery there. But yeah, we've mentioned a few weeks ago when he made the public statement that he was being treated for cancer. Everybody's up on that.
And Jim Ross has a lot of fans, so naturally,
yeah,
his fans would want to know what's going on with him, especially if it's something, as serious as this. Well, in the midst of that, Ric Flair tweeted out, "Jim Ross will always be Jim Ross, seeking attention. Focus on your recovery." And then he tagged him in it, and a lot of people took that as, what the hell is Ric Flair doing? Why would he do this?
Was there a smiley face?
No, I don't think Ric Flair uses emojis, or at least
or
not
any type of little semicolon right parenthesis.
Other than him tagging him at the end to make sure he saw it, no.
But that's. I heard that. I didn't hear it. It wasn't spoken. I saw that, and I was trying to figure out if it was in response to some specific statement or event or remark that someone has made. Was it in response to something that someone had said, or that an announcement that had been made that people were supposed to know what the fuck he was talking about? If he then, as we will find out here in a second, claimed that it was taken out of context. What was the context? You just blurted something out in the wild, right? And nobody, if they did misunderstand it from what you meant it to be, Rick, then why not? Because we knew what you were fucking talking about.
Well, how did you take it? Jim Ross will always be Jim Ross, seeking attention. Focus on your recovery.
That's right, because people had started retweeting it with the goddamn Jesus guy, and I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm thinking, from Jim Ross's goddamn hospital gurney, did he give some kind of interview where he said something about Rick that what bam? And I'm like, then since that apparently is not the case, I'm wondering if Flair just saw something at some point in time and assumed that if he responded to it, that at that moment that everybody would know exactly what he was fucking talking about. But it was the oddest fucking thing.
Did they have problems?
I don't know what to fucking think.
When you were with them, and again, they worked together after that too, but when you were with them, let's say in 88, 89, 90, did they have problems? Did they work well together?
The only problem that they had, and I've said this many times, was that Flair viewed JR as being more on Jim Herd's side because JR had to coexist in the office with the fucking raccoon-headed asshole, and was tried to be a more amenable or professional or acquiescent or whatever to him than Flair, who just wanted to say, fuck you, jump out the window, and me too. But it was not like that either one of them personally had an issue with each other or whatever. And as I said, I don't know what's going on with anybody the last number of years. I'm over here. I try to stay away from these things. But that's what Flair put out a follow-up tweet that said that he was in some way misunderstood or misrepresented or whatever. And if you read that, let's try to figure out how the fuck that is a thing that could be.
And actually, there's two things here. I have the tweet, which I believe you're referencing. I also have a statement that he issued after that. So let's go to here. Here's the tweet. If you can't take a joke from a 76-year-old man, then you are living life too seriously. It was all harmless.
Wait a minute. Should you also mention that you're saying that because every word is capitalized?
Yeah, that's the rule. If it's capitalized, we yell it. That's the Russo rule when it comes to reading documents.
Yes.
Then you are living life too seriously. It was all harmless, lighthearted fun. Just trying to make people laugh and smile.
What the?
All those Jim Ross haters. He's trying to make laugh and smile. Hey, I heard Jim Ross had surgery for cancer. You know what? Let me go make a joke. You're seeking attention again.
I gotta be honest. Rick used to be a bit better of a comedian. How is that a joke? That's what I'm thinking is, does Rick think that he's sending out the meaning that he thinks in his head telepathically along with these tweets so people would understand it? I was like, God damn, he's seeking attention for his cancer.
How'd you got cancer? Seeking attention again. Woo! Well, we have another statement here. I won't yell this one. I just made it clear to the world in an article coming out on Sports Illustrated by Justin Barrasso that Jim Ross was on my Mount Rushmore, along with Gordon Soley, Gene Okerlund, and Jerry Lawler. That's that's an interesting Mount Rushmore there.
That is an interesting choice of announcers when he's covering the spectrum.
That's high praise because it was very difficult for me to leave out Tony Schiavone.
Oh, Jesus.
But Jim Ross and Jerry Lawler were the greatest tandem ever. Nobody should be upset because two people have a difference in opinion. It happens in life. I lost a son. He lost a beautiful wife. We have a lot in common. We were both considered the best at what we do. Let's leave it alone at that, and all the haters can focus on someone else now.
Well, wait a minute. I think it was alone until you brought it up. But besides that,
ignore the fire. I started the fire.
What? What was the difference of opinion? Or he said everybody has a difference of opinion. What, he was for cancer and JR is against it?
He said he had cancer. I said that he's looking for attention. He said, no, I have cancer. Woo! It's a difference of opinion.
What is the difference of opinion?
You need a second opinion? You're seeking attention.
That's like, I tell you, I went to the doctor. The doctor said, I think you're ugly. I said, I'd like a second opinion. Okay, you're stupid too.
How you doing, Jim? Do you have a good support system? Well, the greatest of all time just told me I'm seeking attention. Do you think Rick should send him a case of whiskey or something to ease the pain, or
I don't know. Well, maybe Rick the next business he'll get into is an organ transplant service called Woo Organs. Because if you partake in all the rest of the Woo brand items, you're going to need your liver replaced, your kidneys replaced, your pancreas, your uvula. All those things are going to need to come out and have somebody else's come in. So start now, and that way they can start harvesting the organs for the next generation of the Woosumers. Woosumers.
You could just see Jim Ross's face, like looking at his phone, like, hey, let me scroll. What the fuck? You know what the fuck? All right. Well, that's the, I don't know what we call it, the Ric Flair Jim Ross feud update. It's just a difference of opinion. All the haters can focus on something else. It was a joke.
It's just you and me, and we just disagree. Dun, 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 dun.